Okay, I think it worked that time. Got a little bit of nervous there. Let me make sure I'm up on my laptop. Here we are. Praise the Lord. Woo! It actually said that it had an error. I was like, what? Can't have an error. It's time to go live. Definitely time to go live for lunch. So I'm glad you will be joining me today. I've got my laptop on to make sure I'm in the right place. And to also see any comments of who will come on. So sorry for the delay. It was only a 3-minute delay. But thankfully it's working now. So what I want to show you today is a really fun card. And I like to show something and then show it in multiple ways. So that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Today, there's actually on page 18 of the mini catalog, it is called Peace and Joy. And at first, I got to admit, it didn't spark my interest. But then I saw a lot of things that were created with it. And you know the rest of the story. That's how you just fall in love with it. But basically, again, it's on page 18. As you can see here, they have dies that cut out the stamped images, joy, peace, and bright. And then these are all other stamps. It is a photopolymer stamp set. But what's really cool are with the dies, let me move this for a minute and I'll show you. Okay. These are what the dies look like. So basically, when you have the dies, you have a back image right here. So you can cut that of anything you want. Then you have the next layer. So these all frame the words. So for example, you would have the word bright. And then you have a very thin image of the word itself, which really makes the word pop. And when you're cutting these with the die, I do recommend you use the piece of wax paper. So you would put the wax paper between your cardstock and so put your cardstock, look at that, I got ink on me and I haven't even started stamping yet. You would put your cardstock, the wax paper, and then your die. And that will make this pop out a whole lot easier. But then see, this gets layered right on top. Now the cool thing is, this center die right here, that is what cuts out your words. So basically for each word, as I said, you have 3 dies. So you've got the background, the centerpiece, which the centerpiece cuts out your stamped words, and then you have that thin, really cool top piece. So see, there was no way that I could say no to these after I knew it would do all that. So let me show you what else I'm using today. On page, it's actually on this, just right next to it. This is on page 19. Last year, this was in the holiday catalog. And it was so popular, Stampin' Up! Said, you know what, let's try bringing a couple things back in this holiday catalog. So as a demonstrator, I was totally excited because I loved the Brightly Gleaming Variety Bundle. You get 2 punches. So as you can see, again, you know, I always tell you, but if it is highlighted in a gray, that's a die that cuts it out. If it is highlighted in a vanilla, well then that is an ornament. I mean, that's a punch. So a punch would coordinate with that. So you get 2 punches, one for the small ornament and the bigger one. This beautiful stamp set. But what I was really excited was that they brought this Brightly Gleaming Specialty Designer paperback. It was very popular and it was really on back order a lot of the time last year. But I love it because it actually has a copper foil. The colors that go with this are copper foil, mossy meadow, Night of Navy, Pretty Peacock, and Very Vanilla. So on one side, you have just like a flat image, but on the other side of each one, you have a foil image. So it really is a great paper. I was glad they brought it back, and I loved pairing it together with the Peace and Joy. So what really sold me was when my friend Michelle Brown made this card. We were at a leadership summit, and of course, we all brought something for the others to stamp. And she made this card, and she said it was Pinterest inspired. But what I liked about it is I immediately saw this card 3 different ways with just this one fold, because y'all know how I feel about my special folds. So I am on the cuff here going to create them for you today. I like it so much better when I'm, let me just say, I'd say organized. I mean, sometimes I think I'm not organized, but I don't think I could do everything I do if I wasn't. But I made the mistake of thinking, okay, this morning I can just put this together. Well, it took a little longer, so I don't have a finished card. So we're going to make them together, and it will be what it will be. So again, this is my inspiration starting out. So I'll show you how to make this card here. So for my pieces, these are the measurements. So basically, I tried writing them on here, and the one pen dried up, this one got crazy. So again, it is what it is today. You got to learn to roll with me. So this here is a piece of cherry cobbler cardstock. It is 5 3/4 by 5 1/2. And on this 5 3/4 side, you're going to score in 1 1/2 inches. So it's going to be, that's your top piece like that. Then you're going to have a bottom strip, same cherry cobbler. This is 5 1/2 by 1 1/2 inches. So this will go down on the bottom. Then you need 2 pieces of your Specialty Designer Series paper. And these strips are 5 1/4 inches long by 1 1/4, right here. You can follow through on the directions. And then for this center piece right here, your back piece is going to be 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. That's in cherry cobbler. Then your vanilla is going to be 4 by 2 1/4. So basically just a 1/4 inch smaller on each side. And then for the center of the card, it's just your typical 5 1/4 by 4 inch, very vanilla. So let's get started. So basically what I'm going to do, I can go ahead and just put this right inside. And of course, I think it would help to have it cut the right side. Let me see. All right. That's the beauty of doing a video in your stamp room. You have all the tools here. This was going to be my scratch piece to stamp on, but it's now my centerpiece. 5 1/4 by 4. So I'm going to tape this down. I'm just going to put that right on top, just to get it out of the way, because I'm building my card. So now I'm going to take this piece here, the 5 1/2 by 1 1/2, and I'm going to put a piece of designer paper on here. So this will be the first one, and then this will be the second one. And this is going to go on the top, because both of these are 1 1/2 inches wide. So this basically, when I put it together, that is starting to make my card. So for my centerpiece, and this is where I was getting a little nervous because I like to stamp things out ahead of time to see how it's going to go, but today we are flying by the seat of our pants. So I'm going to take some Mossy Meadow, and I'm going to take my sprigs. So I have, let's see. Now, one of the things I didn't do that I like to do, so let me show you, is, again, this set I just broke open this morning and started using. But sometimes when they produce the stamp sets, whether it's the red rubber or the photopolymer, there's a slight film on there. So I do like to stamp it and just drag that off. And by doing that, if there was any film on here, it takes it off and gives you a much better image. Because sometimes when you put it on there, if I didn't do that, I'll show you on another one if it's new, it kind of bubbles up. So now I've got a good flat image for that. So let me just keep going here. So I am going to let me do like this. Put a couple of these little guys in here and hope I'm getting them right. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with this branch, but I want a little bit of distinction. So I'm just going to stamp off once. And what that does is that actually makes it a little bit lighter. And I know I'm not going to like that there, but again, we are just doing it the best we can today. Okay. So there, you never know when to stop. I'll stop. Okay, so I have my image here. And so what I'll do is I will take it and I'll put it on my 4 1/4 by 2.5 inch cherry cobbler. Put it on like so. And I already punched these out, but what I have done is I have used that back piece, keep in mind. So basically when I layer, for all these, when I layer it together, I'm using the very back piece and then I stamp the words and I'm using that center piece. So that's what I have here. So I will just put a little bit of adhesive on here. And I have my joy. Then I'm going to take some dimensionals. And with this joy, oh good, it did cover up that line. That was going to drive me crazy. I will put the words on here. Oh, maybe not. I spoke too soon. Let's try this. Good enough? So I will put, this is why I do it when you're not looking, that bottom line. Okay, so I will put joy. And then, this is probably the right piece, that one in the center that I was going to stamp on. The words, to the world. So let me see if I can kind of show you what I was telling you about again. I don't know if you can see that. It bubbles up a little bit since I haven't used this before. So again, I just drag that off and it gets any film off. And then I'm just going to stamp to the world because we want joy to the world. So now I will just take my paper snips. I'm just going to cut this out and I'm just leaving a little bit of a very vanilla edge. Nothing too big. And again, simple paper snips. And then I am going to put this down on my card right here. So there I have joy to the world. I'm going to come back to this card. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to put dimensionals. Let me see. Let me use my small ones. They're really just as strong, but I want to make sure I have plenty of an edge here. So I am going to put a mini dimensional 3 on top. And then 3 on bottom. Okay. So I will peel these off and throw the pieces on the floor because that's how I know how productive my day has been, by the amount of cardstock at the end of the day. So I took those off. I probably would have left them on now that I think about it. But what you could do is, I'll show you on the next one. Just line this up. I'm just lining this up on the bottom of my card. Oops, easier said than done with shaky hands. And then I have that on the top. So I will take this, center it up, and then that is how you create this kind of a floating card with a floating bottom. And you can stamp any kind of sentiment you want on the inside because you have all this space here to stamp. All they really see on the inside is this. So that's how the original card was made. But then I got to looking at this and I thought, you know what? I could make that a gift card. Everybody loves to have gift cards through the holidays. I mean, let's face it, it's the easiest thing to buy. It's what they want. So you just gotta get them what they want. So what I'm doing now, and again, I haven't created this, so let's go for it. It's actually using the exact same measurements. So what I will be using then, let me get my parts here. Okay, so as we had said before, 5 3/4 by 5 1/2, and on the 5 3/4 side going this way, I'm scoring at 1 1/2 inches. There again, my bottom strip, 5 1/2 by 1 1/2, and incidentally, this is Night of Navy. Then I have my inside vanilla piece. This should be 5 1/4 by 4 because it was with it, so I know it is. My 2 pieces of designer paper. So this is 1 1/4 by 5 1/4 inches. And then for that front piece, the main centerpiece, I have the base, which is 4 1/4 by 2 1/2, and the front is going to be 4 by 2 1/4. So I have those pieces, so let's get started, but I'm going to show you how to make this one into a gift card holder. So once again, this fold goes down at the top, and then that's going to be your bottom. So you're going to put your designer paper on those 2 pieces. Hey Barb, glad you can join me. Look what we are making today. I love this fold. Okay, so there's my one piece. And then here will go my other. So again, all the papers that I am using, I tried to mix up some different colors, but they all come from the Brightly Gleaming Designer Series paper. So this piece, yep, it works. I'll put this inside to get it out of the way. Put it right there. Now for this one, remember the other one, how we attached it so it folded like this? This, I'm going to make a pocket. So what I'm going to do is just on the 2 sides in the bottom, I like to use our liquid Tombow glue because it's really, really strong. So I am just going to put it on like that. Turn this over. And then when I put it on here, I'll give it a minute to dry. And the nice thing about this glue is it's tacky and it dries in no time. So now the front's going to look the same, but it's going to function differently. So what I'm doing here to keep it simple, I went ahead and I embossed the vanilla instead of stamping on the back. And I did that with the Dainty Diamonds 3D embossing folder. And this folder is awesome, and it really does go with just about anything. It is my go-to folder these days. So I'm just going to put my Very Vanilla on here. Oh, let me get a little more straight. Okay, so I have that. And then, once again, I am going to put my adhesive, the words that I cut out with the middle die onto the gold foil. Gold foil works too. I didn't have the copper foil handy, so gold foil will work. And then I will put my dimensionals with this. Oh my goodness, they're sticky today. So I will peel these off. And when I put it on here, I'm going to put it just a little bit higher, because once I put the bright, 2 of the words in there are and merry, because this is bright and merry. So again, when you're looking at the stamp set, it's really nice because you could say sending peace, sending joy, joy on earth, joy to the world, joy to yours and you and yours, peace to you and yours. All of these things can be interchanged, all these words, to go with these 3 large words. So from here, I'm going to take the pretty peacock and I am going to take this, and again, like I said, I haven't used these yet, so you might be able to see it better on here, maybe this way. It's like the ink doesn't want to adhere really well to the photopolymer. So I just drag it, get that film off, and then I will stamp and marry. Let me see. Julie just came on. Oh, thank you, Julie. Oh, you're so sweet. Julie is going to be stamping the cards, which I love. And she likes that you can get 3 cards from one. I do too, Julie. I really do too. I like options. And whenever I create, it's like I need something to start with, whether it's a color palette, a special fold. But once I have that, my mind just starts thinking and I can change it in a bunch of different ways. So thank you so much for joining me today. So here I'm just cutting out these right here. So I have, whoops, I should have put that down lower. Let's see if I can pop it up. I was thinking they went on the bottom. I guess you could be bright and merry, but I think I'd rather have it say merry and bright. Okay, so let me put merry and so here I have merry and bright. So again, this was our first card with the 2 strips, and you have that centerpiece, exact same measurements, but now I am just going to put dimensionals only on the top. Where's my large ones? Okay, I'll use the little ones. So let me put this on here again. And then when I peel these off, oops, in case you need the directions. Okay, here again, just like the other one, I have that on the top so it opens like this. But the best thing is I can now take a credit card or a gift card and slide it on the inside. So that one opened that way. It's now the same measurements. Now it is a gift card. And then let me show you the third way, because the third way when I saw this was to have the top and the bottom to open. Thankfully, being a previous drafter, it just makes creating that much more fun. So what I have now, your measurements are going to be just a little bit different. So I'll break out the new measurements right here. Okay, it's getting crowded. Let me push some stuff aside. Okay, so now what I have, somewhat the same, but not completely. So now my card base is 7 1/4 by 5 1/2. And on this 7 1/4 side, going this way, I'm going to score at 1 1/2 and 5 3/4. And hopefully if you're creating with this, you can go ahead and, always stop and, write these measurements down. But that's what it is, 7 1/4, 5 1/2, 1 1/2, and 5 3/4. So now these are actually going to fold up and down. Again, same look, just a different way. Once again, you still have the same size designer series papers. You have them at 5 1/4 by 1 1/4. You need 2 of those. Your inside piece, 5 1/4 by 4. And there again, exact same front base piece, 4 1/4 by 2 1/2. And then this front is going to be 4 by 2 1/4. So once again, we will get our piece on here. Hey, Lori's here. Yes, Lori, you finally caught me live. Thankfully, you can always catch me anytime, but live is always fun because I feel like I get to create with some of my friends, even though I'm the only one in the stamp room. So thank you for joining. So here, I have that centerpiece. Now I'm going to take my designer paper. This will go like this. I love this paper. I really think Stampin' Up! Has cornered the market on beautiful designer papers. And don't forget, through October, we do have our designer paper sale. It's 15 papers. I sent it out in my newsletter, so if you have not received my newsletter, or if you would like to, please go to my blog creatingwithcolleen.typepad.com, and request my newsletter. I always send specials in these videos and any other tips that I can out to you. Hey, Diane, good to see you. Glad you could be here. So again, looking at it, looks the same, totally different, because now we're going to open like this. So to decorate my piece here, I'm going to just take my piece of cardstock again. This was the 4 by 2 1/4. I will take my pretty peacock, and in here we also have a really cute little snowflake. So on the snowflakes, one of the things I like to do, again to show dimension, is I'll stamp it once and then I can stamp off. So I get a light and a dark. I can stamp once and then stamp off. The thing you just have to be careful about is say if you're stamping the dark part and you go off your image, it might not show really good on here, but you have to be careful because since I stamped on my paper, only half the ink came off. So then when I go to stamp, you're going to have that dark part and then the light part. So if you want to keep it even, then like I said, if you stamp off and with the first time and it's off your paper, just stamp again, and you can even just stamp off on your scrap paper. So all I'm doing here, you go up there, is just putting some little snowflakes in here. Okay, and I'm gonna stop because you always do get carried away. All right, it just needs one more. Right there. Okay, so I have my background. And then, once again, I've already stamped this and punched it out with the middle die. I will put this on here, like so. Now this I stamped in the Night of Navy, so I'm sorry if I did not tell you the colors. This one is Pretty Peacock. This here, the ink is Night of Navy, and then this is Pretty Peacock ink. So I'll put this on that little base piece. Let me get this out of there. Like so. And then, of course, for here, I will use my dimensionals. And the big ones jumped off the table somewhere. I really like using both sizes for different reasons, but when this is the only one you can find, that's what you use. Oh, they're right here next to me. Imagine that. I used to tell people when we could have our classes in person, and I hope we can do that soon, I used to always tell the person who sat next to me, you know, you're going to have to work the hardest because when I can't find something, you're going to have to point it out and go, oh yeah, it's right there. So they were warned ahead of time. So here I have the words peace, okay? And then with the Night of Navy, I'm going to take this. Again, I haven't used it, so let me pull it off. I'm just going to stamp on Earth. And really, for such a block image, they stamp wonderful. I think that's one of the beauty of photopolymer stamps is you can really get the detail. They're great because you can see through them, but you can get fine detail on a photopolymer plastic as opposed to the red rubber. Although I am still partial to my red rubber. Can't lie to you. So here I have the On Earth. Okay. So I have peace on Earth. And then once again, just to put my dimensionals at the top. Right here. So I'll close this, I center it up, and now my card will open like this. So those are my 3 cards one way. Let me show you again. This was the original, so I love how that opens, and again, you do have plenty of room to stamp on the inside. So in the beginning of the video, you have the measurements for this one. You have the measurements for all of them, but we went over this one. So this opens like that. This gives you the exact same look, but this actually is a gift card because I was able to only put my glue here and put it on the base. So same look, but it's a gift card. And then last but not least, this one here, same look, but just a lot of fun because it opens this way. And the only difference on these really are just the base measurements, and those have a strip. So I hope you enjoyed it today. I am inspired to keep doing one card 3 ways or one bundle 3 ways. I just think it's great to show the variety of what you can make with your cards and with your special folds. So again, if you're not already receiving my newsletter, please go to creatingwithcolleen.typepad.com and request my newsletter. You can also, that's my blog. I just did a blog post yesterday, and I hope you will check it out. And by all means, please join me next week, next Wednesday at noon, when I will do some more creating with you. And we actually have a special coming up. And the special, hold on, let me grab my thing. It is called Curvy Celebrations. So hopefully you have probably seen it. But basically with Curvy Celebrations, it is a sneak peek that is coming out. And so the bundle, the regular stamp set, and I don't know that I can show you the set yet. You know, sometimes they're funny about that. But basically, I would think, do I not? Because they're not supposed to show the stamp set. You can show samples. Anyways, Curvy Celebrations is coming out next month. So basically what it is dies, 2 coordinating stamp sets, and designer series paper. And that is what I'm going to showcase all next month for the month of November, because you can actually purchase it early. I will have this going out on the 1st in a newsletter. So this way you can see the stamp set. I have been in a swap. I will share samples. And every Wednesday in November at 12 o'clock, I will create a new Curvy Celebrations card for you to just show you how versatile that is. So I hope you will join me. And again, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you here again next week. God bless you all, and do something creative today. Bye-bye.